We'll call the meeting to order. The Sherburne County Board of Commissioners stands for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand up. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the States of America, and to the stands under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Good morning. There's only three of us here today, and Andrew Halls is online. Little picture there. Former Commissioner Schumacher, I think, is in Chile. I'm not sure if anyone's heard from him or anything of that, so we'll move on with, I need approval of the regular meeting proposed agenda.
I would move that we approve the proposed agenda.
Moved by Commissioner Felber,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Danielowski. Being as a remote meeting, will it be a roll call even with the agenda?
Yes, please.
Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray says aye. Agenda's approved. Anyone for open forum?
Board Chair, we have no one signed up for open forum.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Bruce, I understand you have one to be pulled.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, and of course pursuant to how things work, I actually have three to be pulled because Keisha helped me out this morning. So if you would pull for separate consideration 3.1, 3.6, and 3.17. So 1, 6, and 17. The rest I have no comments on, so if the board is comfortable, you can pass the consent agenda with the exception of those three items.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the removal of item number 3.1, 3.6, and 3.17 for separate consideration.
I have a motion.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Felber. Roll call vote. Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray says aye. Consent agenda is approved.
And we'll take the ones we pulled right in order.
3.1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. First of all, I have to say, normally we give out the Eagle Eyes Award, but since we're multiple Eagle Eyes, I can't give it out just to one commissioner this time. So 3.1, the consent agenda, there's an error that normally would just consider Scrivener's error, but because it's the minutes of the meetings, we would request that the board approve it, amending it from saying it says December 18th on it, it should say November 18th. And so the recommended motion would be to approve the minutes from November 18th as amended. And then that would correct the date from December 18th to November 18th.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the official meeting minutes from December 18th as amended.
I'll second that.
Moved by Commissioner Danielowski, second by Commissioner Felber. Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
I say aye. Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
That one passes.
And I just want to note for the record, there's a reason why December 18th was accidentally typed into the minutes. Anybody want to guess?
Our last meeting of the year?
No, that's the 16th.
Your due date. Keisha's due date.
Correct. Very good.
That was on your mind.
Yeah, so that was very good. No, birthday's the 19th, so. All right, item 3.6, if the board is willing. We passed out additional information, so it is in the record, but we just want to note that somebody else must have had a baby on the mind. I don't know if Mr. Odell is planning something that we don't know about, but he had put in a wrong resolution, so we've corrected that. And so the language is corrected to reflect resolution is for County State Aid Highway 23 Improvement Plan, not County State Aid Highway 44. So again, the motion would be to approve agenda item 3.6, or I'm sorry, that's 3.5, isn't it?
It's regular agenda number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 3.6. Sorry, wrong one. I'll come back to that one. So 3.6. This is actually a correction requested by the county attorney. This is the wireless communication policy. And so the motion would be to approve as amended, but I want to read the recommended change. The wireless communication device policy would be updated. There are two sections in your RBA, Section 1 and Section 2 in the background justification, and I'll just read it with the amended language. So it currently reads, all county-owned wireless communication devices will have the RAVE public safety application, and then this is the added language, and text/email alerts, I guess, with an S, email alerts, and then consistent language, installed and operational prior to utilization by a county employee. So the added language is, and text/email alerts. So it's not just the application, but the alerts. And then the second item under the policy, employee-owned wireless communication devices must have the RAVE public safety application, again, same language, and text/email alerts installed and operational continued. So the recommendation would be to approve the update to the county's wireless communication device policy as amended. That is a staff recommendation, so we need a motion and a second to approve as amended.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Halls.
Bruce, can you read that second part again, please?
Sure. And I'll give you a background so you understand it. We have two classifications here. Well, there's three classifications of cell phones, so I'll give you the background first and then read it. The first classification are county-owned and issued phones. That was the number one I read. The second classification is employee-owned phones in which they get a monthly reimbursement. So we pay the person to use their phone. That's the second category. The third category, not here, is privately owned phones that we don't pay them to use. We're going to make it available to them, but it's not a requirement, if that makes sense to you. So what we're doing is amending the first two classifications, and the text would read, I'll read the full text for two. Employee-owned wireless communication devices must have the RAVE public safety application and text/email alerts installed and operational prior to receiving a monthly reimbursement as part of the device monthly allowance plan provisions outlined in the wireless communication policy. So what that means is, for instance, I'll use me as an example. This is a personal phone. You pay me $30 a month to use it as a county phone in lieu of me carrying two phones. So I could say, county, my job requires a phone, I'll just have a phone. That would be classification number one. Classification number two is, because you're paying me, I will be obligated to put RAVE on here. If I choose not to, then I would not get the $30 a month reimbursement.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep, sure does. Thank
All
you.
right. So again, the recommendation would be to approve the update to the county's wireless communication device policy as amended, and I think you can just leave it at that.
Looking for a motion.
I would move that we approve the county's wireless communication policy as amended.
Moved by Commissioner Felber,
Second?
second by Commissioner Halls.
Jumps in.
We'll go by roll call vote. Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray says aye. Motion carries. Moving on to 3.17.
This was one that was an eagle eyes catch, and I appreciate it very much that we have folks who look at contracts. Usually about 6 set of eyes look at contracts before they get to you. The attorney's office, the contract manager, the department head, and me, but of course sometimes we just miss things. So in this case, this is an HHS agreement with the sheriff's office, and there was request clarification of language. That was noted by a commissioner, so that has been corrected. It has been distributed to you to make sure that the contract language is specific. So again, the motion recommended would be to approve item 3.17 as amended.
Make the motion to approve item 3.17 as amended.
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Felber, second by Commissioner Danielowski. All vote aye. Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the Commission, just a few announcements. Reminder that the AMC Annual Conference reservations are for December 7th through December 10th. Any cancellation of registration at this point would result in a fee. Hotel cancellations, however, need to be made 72 hours in advance. So if you're going to make changes to your scheduled attendance, if you would like Keisha and Brian, and I know ASAP, as you know, we'll be transitioning for temporary duty. Brian will be taking the lead for Keisha here in the next couple of weeks. So we need to know that fairly quickly. Also, we didn't get a lot of really great responses from you all for a basket for AMC. So if you're okay, I'll just triage it and put something together this week so we have a representational basket. Will that be okay with everybody?
Seems like a good idea since we all dropped the ball on it.
I tried to say that nice, but you know, I like, when Keisha sent the email, it was like crickets. So I'm just like, well, we've done enough beer and spirits, so we should come up with something else. But we'll have some fun this week. The other note is I do have a request for a workshop for next meeting, a fairly short workshop to talk about our legislative priorities, in particular to talk about some of the intergovernmental relation priorities that are kind of out there. They don't necessarily follow into AMC's lead, Micah's lead, or our lead, but they've come up. So for instance, some of our solid waste efforts, some of you sit on Soil and Water Conservation District, there might be issues there. And we've also had just recently the APO had a solicitation for additional lobbying functions. So if you're okay, I'll just schedule a short workshop and we'll kind of dust that off to make sure we're going into the new year well prepared. So
Excellent.
Okay.
Good idea.
Okay. That's all.
So,
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Halls.
Bruce, could you have Keisha just confirm for me the dates that she has reserved in February for the NACO conference so that I can make my flight reservations?
you bet. If you're okay, do you want to, we can do that offline as soon as the meeting's over, or even during the meeting, she might have time to send it to you?
Yeah, if she could just send me an email, that'd be great.
All right. And I am still waiting for final word on the extra day at NACO. At NACO, I should let you know, we did reach out to our lobbyists, but they haven't confirmed it yet, so.
Okay, well, then I'll hold off on making my flight reservations until we hear back from them.
Yeah, I think you probably can. I think I'm going to stay at least till the following afternoon and then catch that evening flight, so, yeah.
Commissioner
Okay.
Hulse, I have you scheduled to check in on the 21st and check out on the 25th.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And that's it for right now.
Moving on to the regular agenda, number 5.1. Congratulate the 2025 Farm Family of the Year and receive an update from the University of Minnesota Extension. Lori?
Good morning. This is the best time I get to come before the board every year because a happy day for us. As you all know, one of the most important things the Extension Department does each year is choose one farm family from the county as your Farm Family of the Year. The award's important to us for two reasons. Not only is it a family that does a great job and has a very successful farming operation, but it's also a family that's involved in the community and really gives back. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this year's Farm Family of the Year, the Golly family. Kyle Golly grew up farming alongside his dad, John, on land first established by his parents, John and Lynette, in 1979. The farm started out as a chicken layer operation before shifting to cattle and crops. Today, livestock is no longer a part of the farm and the focus is all on row crops. Kyle now manages about 1,700 acres, raising seed corn, soybeans, and rye. They use a mix of no-till cover crops and some conventional tillage, always working to keep the ground productive and healthy. The farm was recently certified under the Minnesota Agricultural Water Quality Program, highlighting their commitment to stewardship. John and Lynette remain involved as the original founders and partners, while Kyle's wife Mallory and their kids, Brielle, Lincoln, and Brooks, support wherever they are needed, and they were telling me about the work they do on the farm this morning. Beyond the farm, the family stays active in their community. They serve on the Clear Lake Township Board, the Fire Board, and the Sherburne Benton Corn Growers Association Board. Kyle is also a member of the local American Legion, having served in the Marine Corps and was previously in the fire department. Meanwhile, Mallory is involved with the PTSA for their local school district, and together they keep connected to both their neighbors and the broader agricultural industry. Please join me in congratulating the Kyle family as this year's Farm Family of the Year.
Well, good morning. I guess I don't know if I have too much to say, but I appreciate the opportunity to have been thought of for it. We enjoy working with everybody around and all the opportunities. We've been granted a lot of opportunities to work with everybody, and all the, the conservation district has been very good to us and helped us out on pointed us in the correct direction. So we appreciate everything, and we enjoy farming in the community and helping out around the community. So thank you, everybody.
I just want to say Kyle's family farm is about 2 miles from our family farm, and he's part of the next generation of young farmers that have moved into Clear Lake Township, Palmer Township, and the older guys can't keep up with the technology, but these young kids can. And I just want to commend you on all of that and what you're doing. It's been fabulous.
Could we get a picture?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner. Great.
You want to take it? Up in the front.
We even put the jacket on. Whoa.
Okay.
They're looking at you first or me first?
Got to hold it down just a little bit there, Brooke, so we can see your face.
There you go.
All right.
We'll say 3, 2, 1, cheese, and one more from this camera. 3, 2, 1, cheese. My camera.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good job. And you got your future going here too.
All right, good job.
Thank you so much.
Are you going to speak now?
No. I don't blame you, sweetheart.
On the side, down low.
He's like, there's too many hands.
Too slow. Are you up there? You?
Nope, she's gonna be
Thanks.
bashful.
What'd you do in the Marines?
Crash crew.
Oh, okay.
Firefighter.
All right. My nephew was MP, so,
Oh, okay.
and then he did a lot of convoy stuff, so.
Gotcha.
All right, good job.
Thank you so much.
Let's see if you're faster. Give me 5. Up high. On the side. Down low. Too slow. Too slow. Let's see if you're faster. Give me 5. On the side. Down low. Okay. Oh, she's fast. Good job. Oh. All right, up in space. In your face. Okay, you know how to open the gate?
No competition.
Okay, release your hands. Right, too late. All right, got the pickle, go like this. There you go. All right.
Goodbye, kids. Thank you for
Say
coming.
thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You have a beautiful family, Kyle.
Thank you.
It is a tough act to follow.
Very happy for me.
All right, we're moving on to 5.2, receive an update from the Sherburne National Wildlife Route. Here for you, Bill.
Actually, if you're okay, we're going to do a quick extension update first, so sorry, I got to make you wait a little longer, so.
So sorry.
It's all right.
No, don't be sorry.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Quincy Sadowski. I am the horticulture educator, and I am the representative today of the quad squad of the 4 educators that serve your county. Dana, who our livestock educator, just had her baby last night, so we're super excited for that. So that's the biggest update for Extension. Our family's growing. So personally, I have Lots of things going on. Most people think winter is one of the most quiet times of the year for horticulture, but that is not true. I have I have their attention when they're not out in their gardens. So lots of programming in January and February. I've got Winter Garden College. We're focusing on native plants and cultivars or nativars of those native plants and the research that's going in, whether that is still a viable support of our ecosystem, even though we're changing some of the traits of those native plants, are they still valuable for our pollinators? So super interesting research being published on that. I also have all the Master Gardener events, so if anybody wants to do any gardening, I will be presenting every weekend in March, so I will be floating from county to county. Trying to think. Lauren is working on cybersecurity stuff, and Jackie is actually in the cities this week doing the crop pest management development. So she's learning all the newest research on that too. And Dana had a baby, so that's probably enough for her. Any questions, you can always reach out to me. Email is the easiest because I float from office to office. But that's it for me. So thank you for your support.
Thank you, Quincy. My apologies. I didn't know that she was doing an update, so.
didn't either, so it was probably
That's all right. We were,
All right.
we're ready for our 30-minute update.
Thank you very
too.
much,
You
and I think
ready?
you guys all do a great job.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Now we can move on.
Now we can move on.
Welcoming Bill from the National Wildlife Refuge.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Commissioners. My name's Bill Peterson. I am the manager of Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge. And let's see. There we go. Okay. And that's part of the Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge Complex. We oversee the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I administer approximately 60,000 acres in the northeastern part of the state. Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge, Crane Meadows National Wildlife Refuge near Little Falls, Mille Lacs National Wildlife Refuge, which is several islands in the lake, and then Rice Lake National Wildlife Refuge near McGregor. So 60,000 acres of fee title, and also about 7,000 acres of easements spread across the central part of that area, really Morrison to Pine counties. We have 9 staff that focus on refuge management and maintenance, and another 12 staff that have regional responsibilities, some covering everything between Ohio, Colorado, and Montana, so a big part of central United States. The refuge purpose is to maintain wildlife and wetland habitat along the St. Francis River for the benefit of the American people. So we support outdoor recreation and activities whenever possible, and do everything that we can to be a good asset and help support Sherburne County. The refuge makes up 10% of the county, and appreciate you having me here so that I can come and maintain communications with you. Thank you, Gary. You visited earlier, and I appreciate that. Also work extensively with local schools, primarily Princeton and Zimmerman Elementary Schools. Are the Friends of Sherburne National Wildlife in particular have long-standing relationships, and I'm proud to say I believe all elementary students that pass through those 2 schools get to visit the refuge several times during their elementary school time. We also host a variety of events, both refuge-hosted events, serve as a venue for state, local, and non-government entity meetings when they have a conservation or environmental theme, and also encourage local units of government, state, county, and the towns to take advantage of our meeting sites too. So please, if you have interest in that, please reach out to me. And one of our most popular activities that just wrapped up about a week and a half ago was our fall sandhill crane viewing. We bring in people from across the country and even multiple continents each year to come see cranes. Sherburne hosts the largest sandhill crane fall roost in Minnesota, usually about 20,000 birds, but some years we approach 30,000 birds. Great opportunity to view them both in the refuge wetlands and in the surrounding fields. We also do a lot of habitat management. One bit of management that you'll probably see certainly in the spring is smoke coming from prescribed fire. Historically, the county, except for the extreme northeastern corner where we get more into those heavier soils, burned every 2 to 5 years. And so prescribed fire along with grazing were the key drivers that influenced the plant communities we have. Refuge staff burn about 5,000 acres at Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge annually, mostly in the spring, because in the summer and fall, they are generally working on wildfire control efforts in the western United States. When we have high fire danger, though, they are pulled back to ensure that we can help to support wildfire suppression throughout eastern Minnesota. We also do targeted invasive species control. I need to temper that, though. We have so many invasive species in our area. We really need to be strategic about where we do that. We do quite a bit of research. One of the most interesting ones is researching the beneficial use of grazing, both by cattle and goats, to help replicate what originally would have been elk and to a lesser extent buffalo grazing in this area. You know, we're in Elk River now. We had abundant elk populations several hundred years ago, and sometimes to the point of overbrowsing, which helped to set back a lot of the brush and keep our savannas open. So deer populations are managed at lower levels for social reasons, and that's a good thing, but sometimes we need that periodic driver of heavy grazing to set back the brush. So some interesting research going on there. We're working with University of Minnesota to help identify how we can upscale that for use around the upper Midwest. We work with University of Minnesota quite a bit on growing research projects on weasels, coyotes, and at Rice Lake National Wildlife Refuge, a really interesting one on bigmouth buffalo that you can see in the upper corners. Even gotten some international traction and was featured in the BBC last fall. Big part of what we do both on the refuge and throughout northeastern Minnesota is help to support monitoring. Avian influenza was high profile several years ago, and that's become more commonplace, but the emerging one we have now is emerald ash borer. I believe it's widespread throughout Sherburne County at this point, but has not yet reached Rice Lake National Wildlife Refuge, northern Aiken County, where we really have some extensive ash swamps. So we're also partnering to look at replacement trees with the DNR on that to be used throughout northeastern Minnesota. Some of the plants that they've used more to replace ash in Wisconsin, such as silver maple, might be a bit of a stretch in our cooler climate, but working on a variety of tree species, swamp white oak, silver maple, cottonwood, yellow birch, to help identify trees that we can use to maintain forest habitat as the elm, die out. Another big part of what we're working on is infrastructure management. We replaced the south-facing refuge signs last year, and in '26 we'll replace the north-facing ones, trying to make sure people continue to get to the refuge and have safe conditions when they're there. One change that you will see starting last summer is a new law enforcement officer arrived. His name is Peter Harvey. He transferred here from Kenai, Alaska, and most notably, he has a law enforcement dog. Togo, he's a Belgian Malinois dog. You can see him in the lower right portion of that photo. And Peter and Togo are based at Sherburne. However, they cover the entirety of central Minnesota, northeastern Minnesota, and northwestern Wisconsin. But been great help, and it's a resource that's available for local law enforcement to help, especially with search and rescue. They're very skilled at that. And I know he's been here 7, 8 months now. I believe he's reached out to all local law enforcement agencies. So please be aware of that and take advantage when you need help. And upcoming in 2026 and 2027, Fish and Wildlife Service across the country is looking at opportunities to expand hunting opportunities. We have limited things remaining at Sherburne, excuse me. I'm still a little new to the area. Looking at potentially expanding woodcock hunting areas and maybe some other species, but more to come. That will be a proposal with a public comment period, and expect that to be released either later this spring or spring of 2027. Also, I know I've spoken to several town boards working with the County Parks Department to explore potential bike trail options cutting through the refuge, really looking at from the Orrock Town Hall area towards the northeast that could come out on County Road 9. So we have some ideas in mind. It's sitting in the proposed stage right now, waiting for funding opportunities. So more to come on that. It's a multi-year process, but look forward to helping to expand opportunities for public use like that and becoming more a day trip part of the community. If you have questions, please contact me anytime. Here's my contact info, and encourage you to check in with the Friends of Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge. They do phenomenal outreach and help support our events, and also have great social media reach to keep people updated on changes at the refuge.
Bruce.
Oh, go ahead, Greg. I'll follow up.
Oh, just, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was particularly fascinated by the research on the big-mouth buffalo. I did not know they lived that long.
Yes.
That's crazy. The other thing is, it doesn't seem like there's any cattle up on the refuge anymore.
There aren't. We had cattle for several years, and they work well, but we also, one challenge with cattle is they would prefer to eat the grass. And part of our management is focused on maintaining some of the brush. So we're looking at goats and looking at ways long-term we can integrate goats and cattle. But cattle alone have been a challenge. They really need to be hungry before they start to browse really, but certainly start to eat that hazel and oaks. So that's a challenge. The producers want to continue to put weight on their cows and don't want them to be so hungry that they need to resort to eating hazel.
Yeah, you don't want to push
So
them
they've-
fences either, I suppose.
Moderate effects, but goats do a much better job. And so we're currently in the third year of a 5-year research project looking at goats. And even with goats, it's quite interesting. You need about 3 years of routine defoliation and heavy browsing, defoliating hazel and oak about 3 times during the growing season, stripping all of the leaves before you see those plants start to die.
So to make it viable, we'd have to have some big-time meat goat producers for
Correct.
some sort of a market for it.
And we have some, but there is not a great goat meat market,
A
unfortunately.
pretty limited market, yeah.
So next step I expect is going to be looking at how we can combine cattle, where we do have the larger markets, with goats to achieve the same effects.
Outstanding, thank you.
Bruce.
Really appreciate the update. Thank you. A couple quick questions. What's the relationship with the state, like at Carlos Avery? how's the state and the feds work together on the wildlife refugee objectives?
It works very well. So they're involved with our longer-term planning, our comprehensive conservation plans come up on every 15 years. And then annually, say, hunting is a good example. They consult with us each summer to talk about plans for deer hunting regulations. The state sets the hunting seasons and limits. Wildlife is part of their jurisdiction, but access to the land is really the only thing the refuge controls.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And on that note, the state law changed regarding shotgun zones.
Yes.
The county board's going to be discussing that in January and February because the DNR wants a decision for publication next year. With respect to that, have you or the feds taken a position on shotguns versus rifles?
No, the position is that we support counties and local units of government and however they decide to go.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Danielowski.
thank you. That was going to be one of my questions, so. And thank you for that answer. I do appreciate everything that you do out there to, for the National Wildlife Refuge. It's a big entity in our county, and just based on what you say for the yearly visitors, it's a large count of visitors as well. What I'm curious about is I appreciate that Zimmerman schools and Princeton schools take advantage of being able to get out there with their classroom students. I would like to see more of our schools do that in this county. What do you see as the barrier as to why, you know, when I hear that Princeton is coming down and Big Lake is like only,
Primarily a history.
okay,
The volunteers who've helped to manage a lot of those groups are from the Zimmerman and Princeton communities. And so we have a longer history of reaching with them and their connections with the schools. So that's something I would like to learn more about. Who do you advise that I reach out to for more of a comprehensive look at the county? And the different school districts, especially those on the west side.
you're probably going to have to contact each individual school district, and I
Okay.
would start with their superintendents, and their superintendents would be able to tell you from there who to contact, whoever is in charge of core curriculum.
I think we can also help too. Brian, do you want to connect? Brian has all of those contacts, and
Oh, good.
Yeah.
we can short circuit that so you don't have to do your own original research.
Yeah, because I would really think that would be it's an asset that is sitting right here in our back door. And I think we need to utilize it more with our students across the county.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Bill was gracious enough to give me probably a 2-hour tour. We went through the refuge. I think that, I don't think that people realize how big of a hidden gem that is within the county and the state for that matter. And the more we can do to promote it, I think is a vital asset for Sherburne County and everyone involved. So appreciate the update, Bill, and thank you.
Thank you.
I also like the fact that you're talking about encouraging potentially a bike trail. One of my goals has always been to connect a trail from Big Lake and hopefully at some point all the other communities that can connect out there via bike, or even if you choose to walk that trek.
Sure.
As versus just car all the time. I'm not saying I'm going to get it all done, but it's a puzzle and it's one piece at a time.
Yeah. You know, the all refuge trails and roads are open to bicycling for 6 months of the year. I saw people on bicycles yesterday deer hunting. But not a lot of bicyclers, of course, this time of year. But the change with that designation would be some additional improvements to make the gravel bed more conducive to families and just opening it year-round.
It's a beautiful part of the refuge, too.
Thanks.
Been up in there a bunch.
Even for cross-country skiing, and I know that you also do snowshoeing events occasionally as
Yes.
well through the winter when the snow cooperates, and based on how we're starting out, you might have a season where the snow is going to cooperate.
I hope so.
Yeah. I'd just like to see a short fall fishing season on some of those lakes that haven't been fished in a couple of decades. That would be
You know, they're really shallow. We don't, even Orac Lake, to use that as an example.
yeah,
it
Orac Lake is-
freezes out. Yeah.
Just a swamp.
But if, for people that want to spend an hour or two fishing below the dams, can be quite good.
Yeah, I bet.
So it's easy to see on a map, or if people call me, I'm happy to point them in the right direction.
And just a plug for the Friends of the Wildlife Refuge, they do have a pretty cool store out there that would be worth a look, especially if you're looking for gifts. So I'm just going to do a plug for the store.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you.
very much.
Moving on to 5.3, consider approval of the 26 through 30 Sherburne County EDA strategic plan. Brian putting another hat on here.
That's right.
And
New
Brian's
Chair
gonna-
and board.
Brian's going to be fairly brief because Rayanne and Andrew have already heard this in detail, but this is a good summary for the community and for the other commissioners, so.
You don't have to be brief. Give the report.
I know that all of you understand that I'm especially verbose, so this will be very difficult for me. But we wanted to just give a brief overview of what we've been doing for our strategic plan. It aligns nicely with the strategic pillar updates with the county level too. So just some background, the 5-year plan that we're operating underneath right now was approved in July 18, 2023. And so since we're about halfway through and since the county was updating the strategic pillars anyway, it was a good time for our board to consider where would we like to see updates to our strategic plan. And so we've been going through that in the last few months here, and our board has unanimously approved our updated plan of our 2026 through 2030 strategic plan. Some updates throughout, definitely some minor verbiage, grammar, word choice throughout, but we've been able to cross off or move different categories because of all the progress made. One of the biggest areas is broadband. It was its own subcategory in the original plan, and now we've been able to move it under business retention expansion because of all of the great work of the county and Dan before my time getting us to that 95% coverage on broadband. Now we can move broadband under business retention expansion and say we're going to work on the remaining percentages there. We did want to make sure to add our EDA's support of the removal of the Minnesota's nuclear moratorium, as well as activities to attract and support data center development throughout the county, so making sure to put that in there, as well as our energy transition projects, initiatives, changes that are all benefiting economic growth. So, and on the housing side, we were able to update a fair bit too, because we did complete the housing study, we did create the housing trust fund, so those line items were able to be deleted and updated to reflect our current housing goals. We were also able to update our inner workings with other county departments. We're working a lot closer with planning and zoning, as well as health and human services throughout. We did update to continue to support and participate in planning and zoning's ordinance rewrite and their process therein. And we also included promoting and evaluating that utilization of the pilot bus commuter program that's starting up here. And we were able to do a significant amount of update for our Region 7W work. We are now meeting as a collective body for Region 7W. I think that meeting is actually later this week too. And so now that is ongoing. And we've been able to update for the childcare side, now updating and continuing our childcare interactive map. So lots of good updates there. And the board was pleased with where we're at, and now we can kind of launch into going into 2030. So barring any questions here, we're just looking for overall approval of our 2026 through 2030 strategic plan for the EDA.
Questions or a motion? Bruce?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Brian, just wondering, was there any conversation about including the discussion about migrating to a CDA as part of the strategic plan, or are we keeping that at the board level only at this time?
The CDA, so the Community Development Authority, is still in there. We didn't move it, so it's still a line item there for us to consider. Yep.
Questions? Yep. Motion?
Mr. Chair, we did have a really good conversation too on the marketing and what we're looking at doing, and I think we're well on our way to some really great marketing that will be coming. If you wanted to touch a little more on that, I see you don't have, I know it's preliminary, I see you don't have like what we looked at for choices.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing some billboards, and you can probably expand on that.
Absolutely. So on the marketing side, we were able to revamp a lot of the sections to say that we are going to be actively marketing to bring business, especially from, say, the Twin City Metro into Sherburne County, because we have a lot of the land and options available for them that they would like. So we are looking into doing billboard campaigns. We now have a complementary economic development site that we are building that called, well, you can't access it yet, but it's SherburneBiz.com, and it's for our businesses, our business attraction. So we're doing a lot more on the marketing side to attract it in. Some of that marketing had Dan's photo, but I think we took that out eventually. So still has my photo though, unfortunately, so it's still there. But yeah, a lot of work there on the marketing and bringing in more business.
And I'd have to say, having been involved in EDA for the amount of time that I have, I think we're really hitting a great stride right now. We're very active and very invested in getting the message out that Sherburne County, you are awaiting opportunities. They're here for you. So I appreciate everything that's been done over time, and I love where we're at. And I don't know if Andrew wants to add anything more from our meeting.
No, I just second what you said. I'm really excited about the marketing program. I think that has a chance on having some real pull on bringing some businesses that are looking to perhaps expand out of their current location into one of the a little bit more rural county. I think it has a real opportunities to attract some businesses. So I'm really excited about that.
And I want to thank all the people that sit on this board that are engaged and involved, and they have the same goals of what they want to see Sherburne County grow. So that is exciting as well. We got some really, really good engaged partners.
That being said, looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the EDA strategic plan as presented.
Moved by
I'll
Commissioner.
second.
Second by Commissioner Halls. All those in favor, Commissioner Halls,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray votes aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Bryan. Consider approval for solicitation of requests for quotes for serving the municipal yard waste drop-off site locations. Jillian Carlson.
Now, before Jillian starts, I just want you to know, we do have some photos, right?
Yep, if the board would like to see those.
If you'd like to see, but before we show them, I just want to know, we've cleared we've cleared Dave and Jillian, so they were not involved in starting this particular issue. Lynn is still a little sus, but we'll get to that, so.
Yeah, and these are all photos that have been out online. It also were photos that were taken from the Big Lake Fire Department as well. So these are public photos.
Yeah, this is the City of Big Lakes Municipal Yard Waste Drop-Off Site. I assume you're all aware, but that happened about 2 weekends ago,
Yeah,
I believe.
Saturday morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, so quite extensive, a lot of damage.
Is that, we still pretty sure that that was just heat generated by the pile?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of material out there.
Just for when you say a lot of material, this was the highest that I have ever seen the compost site in the pile that was there. And I've been around ever since the compost site first started, so it was a very, very large pile. And I think there's even a photo, if you research it on Big Lake Forum, that shows the person that actually seen it on Saturday morning from their balcony and kind of put it out there, is this normal? And you see the flames coming up out of the back part of the pile. And everybody's like, I don't think so, so she called it in.
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, this morning I'm looking for the board to consider approval for a solicitation of requests for quotes for a contractor to service the municipal yard waste sites. A little bit of background about why we're requesting this, and on the operations that are taking place at the yard waste sites right now. Currently, the cities of Elk River, Zimmerman, Big Lake, and Becker receive SCORE funding from the county to offset certain operational costs for managing their yard waste drop-off locations. The funds are used for grinding of brush, tree waste, removal of material, including leaves and grass, stumps, things like that for composting. So the cities currently hire contractors and arrange for the grinding and the removal of everything on their own. And then just a little bit of background about our organics program, because that does tie into this. Vonco 2, as you may know, operates a source-separated organics compost operation at their landfill location, and is currently accepting food waste from the county's organics recycling drop-off program, which I have talked about extensively. Their compost operations require large amounts of carbon, so yard waste materials and tree waste, and as a benefit of receiving SCORE funds, in the current language in our SCORE agreements with the municipal yard waste sites, we require that that yard waste be taken to Vonco 2, and keep in mind that Vonco 2 is the only permitted SSO compost operation within the county. So the language in their agreement says it needs to go to an SSO operation in the county, and Vonco 2 is the only one in the county. So that's part of them receiving SCORE dollars from us. So why are we seeking to solicit this RFQ? So instead of the municipalities, department staff would like to take over the contracting and servicing the yard waste site drop-off locations. This would establish uniform costs, operational standards for each location, and ensure that the material is taken to Vonco 2 so that we continue to support that organics compost operation out there. Additionally, we believe that better reporting will be achieved for state reporting purposes, along with potential cost savings. And given the fire at the Big Lake site 2 weeks ago, we feel that this is good timing for the county to get more involved at the yard waste sites. And you saw the pictures there. And then just lastly, there are going to be some additional changes at the yard waste sites that I think you should know about. Under the current program, dropping off tree and yard waste at any of the 4 sites is a free service to county residents, both city and township. However, an increasing amount of tree and yard waste materials are showing up from contractors, so not residents, but businesses. Regardless of how well the cities try to manage this activity, SCORE subsidies are intended to offset the operational costs at the yard waste sites for residents and homeowners. But with an increasing amount of commercially generated yard waste and tree waste showing up, and after discussions with the cities, Zimmerman, Big Lake, and Becker, they've decided to stop accepting yard waste from contractors, from businesses, commercial contractors. However, the city of Elk River is choosing to still accept this waste. So starting January 1st, there's going to be a hard reset on all of the access cards held by everybody, residents, staff. And so residents in the county will be able to stop by Zimmerman, Big Lake, and Becker to have their cards reset, and we are going to have a limit of 2 cards per household, because one thing that we saw was happening is households were having 8, 9, 10 cards, and those are just getting distributed, and we can't keep track of them, and so we would like to limit that to 2 cards per household. Residents outside the city of Elk River will be allowed to bring their yard and tree waste to Zimmerman, Becker, and Big Lake, but Elk River residents will only be able to use their cards at the yard waste location in the city of Elk River. So there's going to be a little bit of a split there. If approved, we intend to identify a contractor for 2026, and costs will be taken out of SCORE grant dollars. Included in your packet is the request for quotes and the professional services agreement that the county attorney's office has reviewed and approved the language. So does anyone have any questions about that? I know it was a lot of information, sorry.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Halls.
Yeah, so my question is, with respect to Elk River, are the residents still going to be able to drop their yard waste off without charge, or are they going to be charged for it?
Mr. Chair,
$25.
Commissioner, there is going to be an annual fee that residents will have to pay in order to get their card, because when the cards get reset on January 1st, no one will have access to any yard waste site at all. So people will have to go in and get their cards reset. So residents of the city of Elk River will have to go to the city to reset their cards, and there will be an annual fee that they'll have to pay in order to get a card. And then I assume that those cards will be reset annually through the city, and then residents will need to pay that fee in order to have access.
And Mr. Chair, my
Do we know,
$25,
that-
Andrew. I seen it posted on the city's website.
is it $25 for both contractors and for residents?
No, the contractors is much more. It's an annual fee as well as a fee per time that they drop off. I don't have those numbers on me, but I could definitely email that out.
Well, and I guess my other question is, and Rand, maybe you've heard this, I don't know. So, so outside of Elk River, all the residents will be able to drop their yard waste off with no fee. Inside Elk River, they're gonna get charged an annual fee, correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Will all locations receive the same score funding?
That is correct. They will still receive score funding.
Not Elk River, though.
Not Elk River, though. Sorry, I mean that Zimmerman, Becker, and Big Lake will still receive score funding, but the city of Elk River is not going to be receiving score funding. Because those funds are meant to offset the cost of residents' yard waste, and they don't have a way that they can separate the commercial and the residential yard waste. So we can't offset the costs of both. We can only offset the cost of the residential yard waste. So they have decided to just no longer be a part of that agreement.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering. It didn't seem right to me to provide score funding to Elk River if they're gonna charge residents and none of the other sites are charging residents. So
Right, no.
that answers my question. My only concern, and this isn't our issue, I mean, it's Elk River's issue, but if we start charging residents to drop off their waste, and I realize it's a nominal fee, it's $25 a year, I suppose, but that disincentivizes people to properly dispose of their yard waste. And so I think we need to keep a close eye on it in partnership with Elk River and make sure we don't see an increase in illegal dumping.
Right, and we do still have our organics recycling drop-off bin out there at the municipal yard waste site in the city of Elk River, so we do go out and check on that periodically, and we still have that partnership with them, so we will definitely keep an eye on operations.
Mentioned we will be regulated.
And additionally, because they're no longer under a score agreement, we will be licensing them as a solid waste facility separately.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to clarify too, Jillian, when you say that with the tree product, there are stipulations on the size. So I just wanted to clarify to make sure, don't expect to show up even as a resident, that you cut down a tree that is greater than 2 inches in diameter and expect you're going to put it there.
I believe it's 20 inches in diameter.
It is
the
a 20
max,
now?
But it is listed
On their,
at all the sites
Yep.
on the signage very clearly, so, yep,
okay, thank you.
yep.
Mr. Chair, quick question.
Bruce?
Just to clarify then, so the agreement will cover county administration and management of the 3 cities, but not Elk River, is that correct?
That is correct.
And then to follow up on that, there'll be some sort of either a working relationship or potentially up to a joint powers or MOU with Elk River. So it's coordinated with the city of Elk River, is that correct?
Yeah, we will be licensing them as a solid waste facility.
So we'll be the
they'll no longer
regulator.
be under that score agreement, like the other 3 cities will. So we will still be managing or overseeing and licensing.
As a regulator. So.
Exactly, yes.
How about the city of Princeton and the city of St. Cloud? How are they done with those facilities?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
They don't have drop-off yard waste sites? Okay.
All right. And then the last question is, I'm assuming the 3 cities have been contacted and are amenable to the proposed action?
That's correct. We've been meeting with them probably every couple of months to work this out together and make sure that what they want done is incorporated as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Danielowski.
Thank you. I'll make a motion then to consider approval for the solicitation of requests for quotes for servicing the municipal yard waste drop-off locations with the city of Becker, city of Big Lake, and city of Zimmerman.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray votes aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
You.
Moving on to 5.5, consider approval of resolution 120225-AD 3255 to acquire the property for County State Aid Highway 23 improvement projects.
Hey, Dave, before you leave, just want to note, Dave, I just want you to know, this is how effective Dave is in placing earworms in people's minds. I am in Tucson, Arizona at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and I think of Dave Lucas. Now, why would I think of Dave Lucas 7 a.m. Saturday in Tucson, Arizona? Anybody have an idea? I am at the Los Reales landfill, household hazardous waste drop-off facility, taking photos and sending them to him by text. And of course, he responds. So this is how the earworm gets in there about, we need an HHW facility. And here I am. The nice thing is the one in Tucson is all outdoors. It's beautiful. So I'm talking up Sherburne County to these workers in Tucson, Arizona, just because of Dave. So I just want to thank you for that. So.
Gotta love the commitment.
Yep.
Now, as we transition, though, and I said this earlier, so I think Dave probably had turkey on the brain when we did this RBA, but Andrew, I know, had stuffing on the brain, so that's why we messed up this next RBA here. So,
yes, my apologies for Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My apologies for the confusion created here. I fully edited the RBA to identify County State Aid Highway 23. Inadvertently did not hit save, even though it asked me twice if I wanted to hit save, so I had not. So my apologies for the confusion. We are working on the reconstruction plan of County State Aid Highway 23 from Edgewood Street to north of County Road 127. And we're at the point in design right now that we need to acquire land. And so our Public Works design team has done a great job minimizing impacts of property. So I just wanted to emphasize that that is our intention here. And we reduced the total parcels to eight takings, 1 permanent easement at Edgewood Street for a right turn lane addition. And then the 6 remaining temporary easements are for grading work associated with primarily drainage improvements north of the park. There is a PE that's required from the city of Becker identified, and that's been a collaboration with the city regarding concerns about the intersection of Edgewood and 23. And so we're working on a unique safety improvement at that intersection that required shifting the road a little bit to the east. So that's why we have the permanent easement there at that location. And so with that, I'm requesting a resolution to support acquisition of 8 total parcels for this project.
So, Mr. Chair, so the Coring B. Anderson Trust, that's involved in the right lane, and that would be also the city of Becker property?
The city of Becker piece is actually on the east side of the road at that location. Yep, correct.
So those 2, and then the rest of them are up by 127 for drainage.
Primarily, we have driveway culverts that need to be shifted out, so we have some easements that are associated with that.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Well, that all makes sense.
Looking for a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Commissioner Danielowski,
I will second that.
second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray votes aye. Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Number 5.6, consider approval to set the January 2026 county board meeting dates and times. Bruce?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Just, we've got into a good cadence over the last several years on how to conduct January. So by statute, the county board is required to have an organizational meeting in January. So that's set by statute. The challenge is that at that meeting, we typically adopt the calendar for the year. You guys do your committee assignments. What we ran into, though, is then typically the second January meeting, we would have to do a special meeting notice because your calendar has to be published for the year. So we've gotten in this process of recommending that the board set the 2 January dates now and then allows you to finalize the calendar for the rest of the year. There's nothing that says you can't set the calendar now for the rest of the year, except you would have to reestablish it as a new board, because statutorily it starts a new, essentially, calendar year, which is also a legal and fiscal year. So our recommendation is that you set the first 2 meetings in January, and then if you want, Keisha has already laid out for you the schedule for next year, just kind of looking ahead. We're not, again, asking that you adopt the full 26 schedule, but we've laid out how it looks. It's very similar to this year, I guess is how we would say. So if you feel good, the motion would be to set first and second meetings in January. Those are published essentially as special meetings, and then you don't have to take action on the rest at this time. Before you do any other discussion, I would note just one thing that will change. Under the new state law, which we're doing today, it does allow for remote participation without basically rationale, and also without making the location of the remote participation a public meeting place. So what we will be doing is for the regular meeting calendar for next year, we will post as part of that a notice that one or more commissioners may be attending remotely. That way we don't have to do special meeting notices on top of our regular meeting. So you notice it once for the year, it's done. Then we only worry about true special meetings or emergency meetings, if that makes sense. Just for information, the rules of the new statute are fairly clear. At least one commissioner has to be physically in this room, and then all of the other conditions remain: see and hear, and be seen and be heard. Make sense?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So the recommendation today would be to move to establish the first 2 meetings in January as presented by staff.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Danielowski.
I'll make that motion that we establish our annual meeting schedule at its organizational meeting in January. Today's action would be to establish the required annual meeting date and time for publication and advertising purposes for the second meeting in January 2026.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray votes aye. I just want to say one thing, though, on your list here that just food for thought for the rest of the commissioners to think about the value of the night meetings that we've had. If we're going to continue to that with our schedule, we'll have that discussion in January. I'm not sure what additional costs those are, but we have to find out if it's valuable enough to have those at night for staff, considering attendance is not what I would classify as great at all for the extra things. So I just want to throw that out there.
And just a reminder for the board, your Q4 night meeting is Thursday night, so we doubled up a member of the TNT, so.
Yep. All right, moving on to 5.7. Review and consider possible options to address perceived or identified issues relating to the organizational structure or operation of St. Cloud Sky Airport and its governing St. Cloud Regional Airport Authority. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I'll be Brian-esque in my comments and keep them short for you. Boy, it's good to say that versus Dan-esque. I like that. That's really good. So we're getting there. At the request of a couple of county commissioners, not from Sherburne County, but with the consent of the 3 county boards and the city council, the 4 administrators got together to discuss some of the early, I guess we'd say, hiccups with the airport authority with respect to communication and some of the challenges that presented. The administrators met and identified what we could best ascertain are the concerns that were raised by some of the county commissioners in the 4 entity joint powers arrangement, and put these together in a white paper, which will be presented to all 4 of the elected bodies as well as the regional airport authority. The recommendation today is that we just simply review it, and then if there's direction from the board, I can prepare that, communicate that, and then after the other 3 elected bodies meet, the 4 administrators will get together and see if there's a consensus opinion on where to move forward. With that, I would note we are the first to have this conversation, so I'm anticipating your comments today will be shared with the other elected boards as they also discuss this. First and foremost, the administrators in reviewing this, besides giving the recitation of the history on the very first page, if you want to go to that, Brian, and you have this electronically as well, it would be the attachment. Yeah. So there's a history up there, and then at the bottom of the first page, we did highlight as a group the structure for amending formally the joint powers agreement. That would have to be amended by the 4 original bodies, not a majority, it's all 4. That was kind of set out for an intention, which is the joint resolution created a new government entity. Therefore, to modify that new government entity, it was felt that all 4 of the original bodies would have to agree. So there is an opportunity for any of the 4 bodies to withdraw from the joint resolution. However, that has no impact on the governance structure of the airport authority. It would, however, reduce the taxing jurisdiction. So that is kind of the option there. So, but it is a high bar to do a formal amendment, and that's without respect to the philosophical reasons for creating the authority in the first place. So at this point, it really is incumbent upon the 4 elected bodies to also recognize that there is a 5th now governmental body called the St. Cloud Regional Airport Authority. With that in mind, and there's also a significant public meeting notice you can see also in the amendment process. With that in mind, I'll just go over the issues that were highlighted. I won't read them. You can do that yourself in the table. So the first was communications and some of the challenges here. And what we did is we put into 4 columns for you whether that can be done under the current structure, whether it might be something that we would do under an MOU, whether we would have to amend the joint powers resolution, and whether it's underway and being corrected already. The note I would highlight on the MOU is that would be a voluntary memorandum of understanding entered into by the 5 parties. So in that case, the MOU would be with the airport authority, and they would theoretically be the 5th party to an MOU. So it'd be something that would allow for us to move forward with the now 5 government bodies. Communications, so sharing board agendas, packets can be done currently and is underway now after some conversation with the authority. There is a highlight document that Bill prepares and is now distributed to the administrators and made available to the elected bodies. And there is a standing request that annually the airport authority come and brief the 4 elected bodies, and you've seen that happen. Timeliness of that meeting, we might want to have discussions about specifically with respect to budgeting, but overall, the administrators felt the communication is improved and that the expectations on how and what is communicated has improved. On governance structure, there were some discussion here. One was to encourage an appointment of authority board members at least quarterly as requested by the appointing party's governing body. That the idea would be is to have the board members have them come back to you quarterly. Now, it doesn't have to be a formal presentation, but we have 3 most of the bodies have two, but just to have them scheduled for an update. Quarterly could be conceived too little, too much, but the idea would be, again, that's one option in the governance, since you appoint them, to have them essentially report back to you. That can be done currently. It also could be something that could be done even in a formal MOU. The second option would be to consider appointing a representative from the county boards and the city council to sit on the authority board as an ex officio member. The idea here would be they have taxing authority. There is some governance issue there. You appoint the members, but there is the opportunity to modify the structure so that there would be an elected official sitting on the board but not voting on the board. That could be done under an MOU. It does not require an amendment. So in other words, the bylaws of the St. Cloud Regional Airport Authority would be amended to have an ex officio elected official from each of the four bodies participate. The third option was to amend Section 3 of the resolution to allow the parties to appoint up to one elected official to the party. Now, this is a philosophical shift from the idea originally not having elected officials as part of the governance structure. In this particular shift, the administrators, said this would give the option of the four boards to decide if they want two appointeds or one appointed and one elected. So that could have a situation where Sherburne County would say, we're happy with the two that are on the Airport Authority Board, but Stearns County may say, well, we want one commissioner on. So the idea would be it would give flexibility. It would not require a commissioner, but it would also be different than what we have today. And then the fourth option would be to amend Section 3 of the resolution to require that one of the two from each of the elected bodies be an elected official. So that were the options there, and again, the administrators just point out to you what is current, what is available, and then what could be done. With regard to the City of St. Cloud support, there was a desire to really clarify the city's role in continuing to fund the airport through the 10-year period. That is underway, and we don't see that there's a need to do anything. I would just note there is a separate MOU in draft between the city and the Airport Authority that would clarify that going forward. With respect to regional sales tax, as you know, the Airport Authority did go ahead and establish a regional sales tax starting next year. Oh, excuse me, sales tax, I apologize. We were also made aware that the future sales tax will expire. It doesn't expire for quite a long time. The administrators just recommend that we have as a footnote that we think any renewal of the regional sales tax should also include continued support of the airport. So again, this is a future thing. Apologies for jumping ahead. On the levy, a lot of discussion on the levy. As you know, it was imposed this year for $1 million. The options to the board would potentially be as part of an MOU or an amendment, and either vehicle would work, to consider the potential of a rate cap. If there's concern among the four elected bodies that this could be a taxing jurisdiction that gets out of control, the administrators ultimately came up with the idea of a 4% rate cap. That would allow some modest growth in the levy, what wouldn't require them to come back every year when the levy goes up $1 or $2. The 4% amount you'll see in the bottom what it would do for growth. So then anything above that would be negotiated and would have to be done in a more formal structure. At the very bottom, excuse me, you can see the estimated impact of the levy across all of the counties. So we did it there. You can see for $1 million, 1.5 million, and 2 million, and then the home values within the different jurisdictions. And that's taking the million is what has been imposed already. And then at the very bottom, we did look specifically at the idea of that rate cap. And you can see that at a 4% rate cap, it would allow for growth basically from $1 million up to 1.8 million over the years of that cap. If at 3%, which is pretty similar to what they imposed this year, it would be, and it's actually 0.3, sorry, Dan, it would be 1.35 million, so very close to what they've imposed already. And then the final comments, again, is just process. What we recommend is to get a feel for each of the boards, and then we'll get back together and see what you're at. So if you want to start, we can start with the first thing on communications, and it's just really, if you have a feeling that what is underway already is not sufficient, then I can bring that back to the administrators.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Okay, thank you. Before we start with that, being the one person on the board that was here when this agreement was done with the airport authority and the other counties, the reasoning, and I'd also like to say that there are a couple of commissioners that had the concerns. And that being said, the reason that we entered into this was that the feeling was that being as we as electeds had the control of appointing who represents us, if there was anything that was going to come down the pike, we could do something in regards to who we appoint to represent us on this authority. The reason we went down this road is because I think we can all know the condition of the airport, the ability of the airport to be able to grow was greatly hampered when it was just St. Cloud was the entity. And that's definitely, you understand that when it's in a general budget levy, you're going to be constrained. And when we took over that airport and put the authority in place, I think we've seen by how much needed to be done to bring this up to speed. Plus, it allowed the airport authority to have access to more revenue than what could be done at a local government level. So I just want to make sure that there's that understanding that we do have the ability to appoint who represents us on this board as a elected body. Those are just my comments. And
other global comments I'll defer to. Otherwise, I would suggest we just take these by the sections. The first is communications. Again, the consensus opinion of the administrators was that this can all be addressed under the current structure and that it is underway. So I would just take back any notes or comments if you feel otherwise, if there's more communication needed or if the changes are sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, we finished this up with it. I was looking at that last line of it. I don't have it up on my other screen. But we're just talking about here is just throwing it out for everybody to have a conversation about it and hash some of these things out. Since there is concern, let's go ahead, let's do that, get it done, have a chat, figure it out. I mean, because it is a concern, you know, I mean, if it does start costing a lot, what we're going to get out of it, you know, I mean, I don't know what the percentage of the population is that even uses the airport. Obviously, if service improves there, the more people will use it. So yeah, we just have a good time to have a chat about it, no problem.
yeah, because as we continue to grow and improve the airport, that will grow in itself. And a lot of some of our businesses, some of our larger businesses do utilize that airport. Plus, it's a potential draw to draw more businesses that would view an airport as something of a benefit to their operations. So I just want to make sure that that was the whole idea, to grow this into a regional aspect in an airport facility.
I would also note a little FYI, it's kind of like, you know, where was the first nuclear generated power plant in Minnesota? Well, it was Elk River. So the FYI is, where is the only military installation in Sherburne County?
At the airport.
At the airport. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah. Commissioner Halls.
Just a couple of things. So I think the one comment that I would make is, while I agree that, you know, we would want the airport to have the ability to grow and support businesses and residents in the area, we also want to make sure that the airport authority has accountability. And so I think there are two sides to that coin. That being said, on the communication side, the only comment I would make is I think the first two are fairly straightforward. The third point here, as far as consider holding an annual briefing, I just think that should be mandatory. If they're going to have some sort of taxing authority, and they do, they should simply be required to come in and hold that briefing with each of the four entities once a year.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
Totally agree.
yep.
Okay. Any other thoughts on communication? Okay. On representation, just again, currently, everybody appoints two, and then there's one at large. We happen to have a resident who is serving as the at-large position. There is, again, from a representational standpoint, that appointed staff come back or appointed representatives come back at least quarterly. That can be done under the current structure. It's just a request. To go deeper would be require either an MOU or a joint powers arrangement. So what is the board's feeling on changing the governance structure, either softly with just more feedback, or having somebody appointed either ex officio or more formally by amending the actual joint powers resolution?
I would like
Mr. Chair?
Sorry, go ahead.
Commissioner Halls?
No, go ahead.
I would
Just
like
from
to
a question
see,
standpoint.
pardon?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would like to see us doing the number one, for sure, reporting back who our elected or who our choice of representative is, to report back to us, to keep that continuing connection. Also, I don't, at this moment, we all have the ability to attend those meetings. They're public meetings. They're open to the public. I don't know if we necessarily need to do, I'd be open to possibly that ex officio member. I would like to give this some breathing room before we maybe go to the third thought.
Commissioner Halls?
Yeah, I guess my question is does the wording of the joint powers agreement preclude one of the four counties from having their appointee be an elected official?
It currently does, yes. It was designed specifically with the intent that it not be elected officials. It'd be run as a business, and so they would be appointed.
So I would think if we are going to, if there is between everybody out there, I'm not necessarily looking for more committees myself, but if we are going to send somebody up there and have them attend every meeting, then I would prefer that they be a voting member. Because, you know, I mean, if you're going to bother to go, you might as well have a vote. What's going on? You know, but that would be something that, as this discussion continues, we can figure out what the appetite for that is. I'm not sure we need it, but I would rather it be that way.
I agree with Rayanne. It's, you know, they're open meetings. You know, any one of us commissioners can attend. At least the three representatives from Sherburne County that we've appointed, I think, are highly intelligent, skilled people in what they're doing. The reporting back is probably the key to me. I don't need, like Commissioner Felber said, I don't think any of us need to sit on another committee. Not that any of us are not willing to, but if we're going to be there, I think, you know, voting would be good. But in the same sense, elected officials, we're coming and going. At least these people that are there and appointed are there all the time. I mean, we're not changing commissioners every 2 years or 4 years. These people are going to be there for a while, and we have a say in, commissioners have a say in who they're going to appoint to that position. So I just as soon leave it the way it is.
Yep.
Yep, and I'd like to, I totally agree. I'd like to see this, that could be something at some point, if we see this not working well we can go to at some point. I would like us not to do that at the moment. I'd like to give the breathing opportunity for the airport authority to, like I said, they took over an operation that was in desperate need of updating, getting into modernization. They applied for a lot of grants to help offset that cost. And I would just like to see how this would settle out. I mean, with this more communication and more active connection, I think we can keep a handle on it, is my opinion. But because this whole process went through back when this started, we're a super conservative board, and at that time, super conservative board still. And this was something that they felt was worth investing in the opportunity for this regional airport to actually get somewhere.
So we can.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Halls.
I was just gonna say, I guess from my opinion is I really struggle with appointed boards having taxation authority without having elected officials on the board. It's just it's a fundamental challenge that I have with that kind of structure. I don't think those are right. So if I had my druthers, I would choose option 3, which would change the joint powers agreement such that each entity could choose to appoint an elected official, but they don't have to choose an elected official. Give each entity the ability to make the decision on their own.
Okay.
Okay, so what I've got for summary and governance is consensus, having the appointed representatives report back. Currently, no to elected officials, either ex officiary or full voting membership, but revisit it later if needed. And if revisited and needed, then electeds with voting under option 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Next is City of St. Cloud support. Essentially, we're just saying it's underway. We don't need to have the parties involved. Are you okay with that position?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Regional sales tax, again, the idea is it's a placeholder since it's so many years out. But the idea would be if it's renewed among the cities of Sartell. Dan, who's all in the regional sales tax, you remember? There's a bunch of entities. If it gets renewed, that we would encourage that the airport authority be a recipient as they are now.
Isn't that till 2032?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. And then the last one is the levy. Again, there is no levy limit per se on the airport authority, as there is not currently on any other government body in Minnesota. At least that I'm aware of. There could be some, but the legislature, of course, can and have imposed levy limits in the past. This would just be something that we could negotiate by MOU or actually amend the joint powers. It could be done by MOU, which is easier. And then the thought would be, does the county board have a position? Do you want to kind of set some ceiling now? And then again, once that ceiling is hit, the authority would have to come back and amend the MOU to increase the ceiling. And the idea would be, we started out with this, there's no limit. Then it's like if we do an absolute limit every year that they increase it, they'd have to come back. Or do we give them a little bit of growth, and then if they reach that for whatever reason, then they have to come back?
And Mr. Chair, that would be my concern. Is this a one-off? Or, meaning what they've proposed on the levy for 2026. What in the future, I guess I'd like to have a little more conversation of where they view this potential possible need on levy to go.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the answer. I've not been privy to their long-term strategic planning for budgeting purposes. So I think
that would be good to know before we make an absolute decision on putting a cap on it. That's just my opinion.
So more info.
And I'm not against a cap.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Bruce, where did the 0.4% levy cap come from the administrators? Where did you guys, or how did you guys get to that?
We knew they were talking about $1 million levy this year, so we just kind of calculate, instead of coming up with an exact dollar amount, it was close enough to 3%, we used it. And then when we talked about a reasonable growth scenario for, let's say, 5 years, that we just decided to run 4% as a hypothetical. So there wasn't any request, it was just saying, you know, if they have operating cost increases like we do, and they decide to start increasing that levy, do we want to have a ceiling?
Now, just for clarification, you keep saying 4%, but I'm seeing on the documentation here 0.4%.
Correct, it's 0.4. I'm just being a layperson. Dan's chafing over there because he's trying to keep me accurate. Yeah, it's 0.4%. It's a very, very small amount.
It's 0.004 on our.
Correct, yeah.
Yep.
There again, I guess I'd like to get a better understanding of what it is that they're looking to still
Yep.
need to do to improve. So I think we need more information before we decide how we want to react to this one,
Okay.
at least in my opinion, and what are they looking to continue to improve upon?
Mm-hmm. And then at that point, you would decide whether an MOU or put it in the governance structure. Okay,
I would think.
all right. So
I
more
would like
information.
to see a cap.
Okay,
What's that?
a cap.
Yeah.
I just said I would like to see a cap.
It kind of addresses that accountability issue a little bit, I guess, would be the argument that I think the administrators would recognize, as much as we absolutely hate levy caps, because when the legislature puts them on you guys, it makes jobs difficult. But,
Right.
you know, maybe that's the compromise with appointed officials, is if they start getting spend happy, they have to come back and justify it, so.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess for this, my comment is, this is an arbitrary figure that we have no idea. Like I said, I'd like to understand, like I said, I'm not against a
Yep.
cap. I think it does make sense, but I'd like to get a better idea of what are we capping.
Yeah, and in all due respect, the airport authority will be discussing this in January at their board meeting. We had to come up with white paper first and are obligated to the 4 elected bodies first. But the airport authority, as a courtesy, will discuss it as well. So I can reflect that.
Okay.
All right, any other parting thoughts or comments? Otherwise, I've got consensus of the board. I can go over it together, or if you're comfortable, I've encapsulated it. With respect to the levy, what I had is more information on their strategic financial plan. And then if there's value, then it would be a cap, but the cap is still to be determined.
Yep.
Yep.
And the structure probably at that point would also be to be determined, MOU or amendment.
They'll kind of marry each other.
Yeah. Does that work, Andrew?
Well, I would word it a little more strongly. I would say that we're going to impose a cap. We just need to have more information to figure out what that cap's going to be.
Okay.
I don't know if there was consensus on that, but I can put that as a split. I had if then cap, but I don't do. And I look at you, Rand, because you had kind of said get more information first. So I want to get consensus of this board.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to a cap. I want better understanding, because the whole idea was to help this regional airport grow.
Okay.
So I just would like a better understanding. I'm not against a
Right.
cap. I think a cap probably makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'd like to understand.
Gary?
I'm the same way.
Okay. Greg?
Yeah, I think a cap is a great idea, but I just want to know what it's got to be.
Okay.
Which number? I mean, you move it 0 this way or that way, and it's a big difference.
Okay, so I've got basically, I'll call it a 2-2, so I'll try to word it so that there's more than if, then cap to be determined. I'll put,
We're probably
once
gonna-
more information, a cap can be, some sort of cap can be considered.
Yep.
Is that okay, Commissioner Halls?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I will type this up and get it out to the other administrators, and then we'll see what the other boards feel. With the exception of revisiting later and having a voting elected official, Nothing else would trigger a formal amendment process. Everything else could be done either through MOU, just FYI, so, okay.
Sounds good.
All right, I appreciate your time.
All right, outstanding.
Commissioner reports,
Oh,
correspondence. We'll start off with Schumacher. Oh, that's right. He's not here.
he's in
So
Chile.
the other one that's not here, Commissioner Halls.
Wow.
Okay, you're jumping right to me. Okay, so from the last time, what I had was, we had our meeting with the General Government Committee on, from AMC. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, yeah, we're good.
Okay, yep, so that meeting went fairly well. I think we're gonna need to be prepared, whoever's gonna present those at AMC, I think just needs to be prepared for some resistance on some of our proposed platform changes. And I think some of the pushback is just, people thinking it through, and I think some of it is philosophical. But for example, I do think we're going to get some pushback on lifting the nuclear moratorium from the Environmental Committee. So we need to be prepared for that. I think we're in pretty good shape with respect to where we were at with wanting to be able to attract data centers, as long as the language indicates that some counties are interested in attracting data centers and some counties are not. If we go through most of the rest of the platform changes, I think there was more just general questions. Bruce, do you remember off the top of your head, was there anything else that stood out to you as far as being a little bit more controversial?
No, I think the issue with the waste energy stuff might get resolved with that follow-on meeting, which I'm working to set up right now, especially when we found out after the fact that some of the Gen 4s actually don't create nuclear waste at all. So,
right.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, there were a few wordsmithing things and some adjustments, but nothing dramatic.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just need to be prepared for that one, for the meeting. Next, I had the meeting with the Sherburne County Fair Board on Wednesday, week ago, last Wednesday. That's going pretty well. Once again, they're continuing to work on their strategic plan. I gave them, some direction over, what we'd like to see in a strategic plan. They're proceeding with that accordingly. And then the other meeting that we had was the EDA meeting. That went extremely well. We already talked about the marketing program earlier today. I'm very, very pleased with the progress, and I think most of the EDA is pleased with the progress that we're seeing there. So good work there. And then finally, just from a personal note, I found out I got notification last night that I've been appointed to the board of directors of Rivers of Hope. So I'm excited about that as well.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Commissioner Felber.
Okay, well, let's,
You're done.
December is AIDS Awareness Month, Seasonal Affective Disorder Month, Universal Human Rights Month, National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, and National Safe Toys and Gifts Month. For meetings, NACO Regional Meeting, discussion and restart of SNAP, and then review the slides from the Elk River Paid Family Medical Leave webinar. For the Great River Regional Library, we had a finance meeting. On the upside, we had over $350,000 in surplus to forward to 2027. That's always good news. The regular business meeting went fine. The city of Painesville is looking to build a new, larger library, which is a good thing. Let's see, I went to the Two Inlets meeting, and then it looks like we've got our land trust going. Everything's going fine out there. I guess that would be the best deal. And we are looking at trying to get some sweetgrass planted out there rather than, and working a little bit more with the terrain, which I like that idea. The Midwest Forensic Laboratory, the staffing is good. The casework is up to snuff. Everybody's getting caught up. They were kind of behind, but now they've got full staff. We're going to be redoing our organizational stuff a little bit in March. I went to the Waste Management Open House. That was well attended, and there was some good information there. I went to the Orrock Township meeting. That went well, with Bruce was there. We went to the ETAC, Energy Transition Advisory Committee. We had an executive meeting before our regular meeting. Both of those went quite well. We got some good presentations yesterday at the main ETAC meeting. I went on the tour with the Emmer staff at Sherco, which was good, so that the new staff could see how the Sherco operation really goes, and try to keep planting that earworm that we really should figure out some way to fund that. On the ETAC in that area, I'm going to mention that I just took a very long drive through the plains south, and I went by literally hundreds and hundreds of wind farms that were absolutely locked down, clutched, because there was just too much wind in the plains. And so when you look at the MISO for the last few days, about 30-some% would have been coal, 30-some% would have been gas, 14% were nuclear, and less than 7% was a combination of solar, wind. So when we start talking about these things, it's really important to remember when it gets cold and it gets windy, which seems like it happens around here fairly often in the wintertime. The only thing that's going to work for us are those 24-hour-a-day base load power, and we need to figure out a way to preserve it. That's that on that. And then, and just one more quick thing. People have got to quit advocating for attacking our people in the field. 2 National Guardsmen were shot in the last week. One of them died. That is not at all acceptable, and you cannot keep, as elected officials, and people should start getting charged for advocating for hurting these people while they're working in the field. And that'll be it.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had attended the NACO Central Regional meeting via Zoom. Always a lot of good information. I'm always amazed at how a lot of what our issues are the same issues that counties deal with across the country. Attended the Community Advisory meeting for the Big Lake School District. Also attended the Sherburne County Sub-Coalition meeting. Commissioner Gray was there as well in attendance, and that meeting went well. We're looking at what we're going to be doing strategic-wise going into 2026. Met with the City of Big Lake City Administrator and attended the PUC Waste Management Public Comment Period that Commissioner Felber referred to. Lot of attendance. One thing I did notice, it appeared that majority of the attendance was more government entities, along with the PUC and the waste management people and stuff, and a lot of us in staff. I know the public comment period ended yesterday, December 1st, so we'll find out more information going forward for what the next steps are. And attended the county EDA meeting that Commissioner Hulls already gave an update on. I concur with him. I'm super excited to see where this marketing campaign is going to lead us, and we got some great opportunities coming up. Not to quote our opportunity awaits. And also then tomorrow is when my transportation policy meeting for the conference coming up is going to be, so more information on that. And that was pretty much it. I did have a few emails and stuff that came through for various things and got back to some people. That was about it. Thank you.
Well, and as I lead off always, it's National Walt Disney Day today. So
I missed that one.
you didn't catch that one.
Oh, I do months.
I know.
Oh, Dave.
I do it the month is.
I do it the month. I did, like Rand said, I was at the Sub-Coalition meeting. Greg already mentioned the 2 Inlets meeting that we had, but I also did the 2 Inlets in closing of the Morehouse property. I think that's a huge step. We've got the last 5 acres. That makes it a complete park now. I sat in and listened to the AMC call with Bruce, and Andrew did a great job in regarding putting our amendments together for the conference coming up. The PNC meeting, I think all of us watched that. A lot of you did online. I just want to thank all the people that were there. We have those planning and zoning meetings, and there's very few people ever at a public hearing. This room was full. Commissioner Schumacher was there, brought in chairs. It was great to see a lot of people there and giving their input. And then along with Commissioner Felber, I did the Emmer staff tour on the 24th of the coal plant and Highway 10 and County Road 11. So that's all I had. Anything else?
I think when we transition here, you got scheduled for a break. And I think we'll invert, if Ben is here, we're going to invert item 2 and start with that. We'll stay in this room, however, so Commissioner Hulse can stay online and watch it, because it is important for you to get updated on some of the HR issues. With respect to then that will be the second workshop, it'll just be very brief to just start talking about committee assignments, but in all reality, since Commissioner Schumacher's not here, I'd suggest you don't have that conversation, just so that he can be a member of it.
No.
So if you're okay, we'll invert, have Tammy and Ben come down, and when you're back from your break, I'll set up a table for them here, okay?
Well, we can invert it, but we can also just assign Brad whatever we want if he's not here.
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't want to go there, but you did that last year, remember? You're just like, oh, okay, you're going to do everything Lisa did, so.
Brad now has 60 committees.
We all have none. Enjoy your year. I'll teach you.
All right.
We're gonna be out there.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna take
We'll take a 10-minute break, 5 after 11.
Okay, 10 minutes?
Participate.
You all right with that, Andrew?
Yeah, you said 10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay, yep, sounds
Yeah, we'll
great.
get a couple.
Thank you.